let's talk a little bit more about, because we've got a lot of things coming up in Halloween, in the fall here. And one of the things that I wanted to take just a minute and talk about is school. Because I know in fall of 2020, we are facing more challenges than ever with learning and with distance learning. And everybody's in a different boat, right? Some of you are still on full distance learning. Some of you are doing hybrid, and some of you are back in school with masks on, and some of you are back in school without masks on. And so it's a very, very, very mixed bag, but almost no one has a complete, what we would have called normal a year ago experience, right? So, the first thing that I want to make sure that I say to everybody is we all have to cut ourselves a little bit of slack. I'm hearing from a lot of parents, and I know this is true for me as well, that if things aren't going well at school, we take it on as if it's that we have failed. And I also know this about the teachers too, that there's a lot of feeling of failure out there, that teachers are feeling like they have failed also. And I would just like to wipe that word out. It's not about failure. It's about making do with what we have. It's about being creative, saying, okay, here, it's that thing in Apollo 13 where they say, okay, you have a bunch of round filters, and we throw a bunch of ingredients on a table for a bunch of scientists and say, you've got 3 hours to come up with how do you use everything that you've got there to fit the filter that you don't have filters, so how are you going to make it go together? It's a puzzle piece. You have to use what you have. And so the first thing to do is to take stock of what you have. What do you have at your disposal? And I think it starts with, who is actually doing the teacher. I do want to say, Daniel, we'll have to see if a similar events are being offered in Britain, perhaps in the form of Halloween themed party over Zoom. Yeah, I mean, take a look and see what they have. But I also want to tell you that I don't think that the Ed Asner Center will boot you out for being from Britain. I think it'll be a different time zone, and that might be a difficulty. But I think they'd welcome you. I think they'd be like, "That's fabulous," So, but absolutely check out and see if you've got something going on over there. But sometimes something comes up and you have an idea for something, and you look around and you go, nobody else is doing it. It's that thing, where you go, uh-oh, nobody else is doing that. Does that mean I've been assigned to do it? And you might be the one. You might be the one that needs to do it. And you might be the person who changes the world by doing it. So I just want to warn you, that's a possibility. And if it is, let us know. We'll promote your event, right? We'll be happy to let others know about that. Okay, but going back to the distance learning, you got to take stock. What do you have in your plus column? What do you have working against you? And somebody was asking me the other day, what will help our caregivers? And I said, you got to realize it's all different circumstances. There's the one mom that's the single mom that she has to work, but she's working really weird hours. And she's the only one who the school is not paying for somebody to facilitate. Her kiddo cannot sit in front of the screen for very long. Somebody has to sit there with him and help to prompt him. Her circumstances are different. What's working in her column is, that she's got a sister who works opposite hours than her so that they can trade nap times, because we got to find a time for that mom to nap, right? She can't work all night and then facilitate her kid all day. But she can tag team with her sister, catch sleep here, there, wherever, and use what she has, right? Then we have the other circumstance where there's the mom and the dad, and they have 5 kids, and the 5 kids are going to 5 different schools. And because they're only going hybrid, they're half day, and just the traffic pattern alone is what's sinking their battleship, right? What do they have in their plus column? The fact that they can choose with some of the kids whether they want to be hybrid full day, and for some of the kids can be half day, and that we can sit down and piece it together. So you got to think, all right, what do I have in my plus column, and what am I stuck with? But I have these things that will help me with it. And, those are my challenges, right? If we're not realistic about it, then we can't even make a start. And then from there, you've got to ask for the school's help. You just have to. And I know it's hard because schools are overwhelmed. Schools are just taken on water. And I'm sorry to say that a lot of it is that they are not coming to the realization of this is what we're dealing with. They're trying so hard to get back to that normal. I don't even get me started. you know, I was a part of a conversation last night where they were saying, well, we were hoping here to go back to school in January, full on at school, not even hybrid, full on. And I said, I know that was everybody's hope. But you do realize that's really not going to happen, right? Like, is there something in the news, something that the scientists have said, something that the politicians have said, something that the doctors have said, that the nurses have said? Is there something that you feel is that like, oh, it's significantly getting better, so probably even with the impending flu, it's going to be better in January? Like, just point to one thing that shows that, because I'm not seeing that. I think our time would be better spent to say, how are we making the most of what we have? Okay. I love that you guys talk to each other and have different things to say. Trick or treating at home, great idea. Yeah, it's super fun, super duper fun. And by the way, you could even do it distance with some people. So you could take the iPad and stick it behind the door and have it be grandma. So they knock on the door and it's grandma, and grandma says, hello, and they say trick or treat. Like, you could absolutely do that. Or have one of their friends from across town do it with them, where they carry the iPad around. I mean, like, totally can do it. I love that somebody's telling Parker, you're talking about the national, it's a question. You're asking the National Autistic Society, which is UK based one, have been with them. We'll see if they have anything going on. Yeah, that is what they're talking about. Yeah, maybe they're doing an event, or maybe you can say to them, hey, we'd like to do a Zoom event, and have people wear costumes and do that. Okay, so asking the school for help. I keep bouncing back and forth. I hope you guys are with me. One of the things that Bonnie Yates has suggested is that now we're enough into the semester, we've all given it a fair shot, a fair try. It's really important that if you haven't already, videotape what is not working. Show the fact that the computer is there, the teacher is talking, and your child stands for 5 seconds and then goes someplace else. If you can get someone else to videotape that you have to go get the child and bring them back and bring them to the screen to show that it's not possible without you motoring them back to the screen, right? And that even then it's like 2 minutes and your child goes. Now, a lot of you are feeling like, well, that's it. That's, game over. That's all there is. There's nothing else in the bag of treats for you. And this is not true. So, but the first step at this point is that you videotape, you ask the school, we need another meeting because the distance learning plan isn't working. It's not effective. It's not appropriate. And you have to use those words and you have to show them proof, right? You can also show them examples of work if you have them, to show that work is not complete, right? But you got to go in and say, it's not working. You can think, well, what I'd like is this, right? It doesn't really work that way. It's not like a grocery store where you can order something up. It really is the responsibility of the school to come back and offer you something else. You will find, though, however, it's good to have an idea of what you'd like, because sometimes the school will say, well, we don't have anything else. There's nothing that we could do. Do you have any ideas? And then you can say, for instance, what some people have said is, we're getting really good ABA. They are coming into the home, or they're able to do telehealth with our child. We would like to utilize more ABA. Can you, if you will pay for the therapy during those hours, they'll work on the IEP goals, and your ABA provider should be able to do that. I know I just blew some people's heads up, but that's the truth. If your ABA provider, if they have goals from the school with the IEP and the school is paying for the hours, they can work on educational things. A lot of times your ABA provider will tell you that they can't work on educational things. That's because your current funding source doesn't allow for it, not because they can't teach. Your current funding source says we're not working on anything educational. That's the school's responsibility. They have to pay for that. But if the school pays for it, they absolutely can work on educational things. I got to go to the other to be able to see what you wrote. A lot of parents are on standby and not really speaking up to the school as to what their needs are or what issues they are having. I noticed that they're a lot more involved when you communicate more with the school. Hard days, you log what happens and let the teachers know what's not working and what you want to change. It's true, but um, we don't have to just stand by, right? I think that there have been some people, let's be realistic here. There have been some people who went back to their school district, and the school district has been not helpful and said that's all we can do. Okay, when you get to that point, you document it and you make the decision, are we going to continue on with this, or are we going to give them notice that we're stopping? You have to give them 10 days notice if you're going to jump to anything else, 10 business days notice. Like if you're going to go do a homeschooling program, you got to give them 10 business days that you're going to do that. And then you can do pretty much whatever you want. If you decide to pay for a service, you have the possibility of asking the school to pay for it later on, but you should never enter into that thinking, oh, I'm going to get this money back. You might, you should, but you may not. We don't know. And no one would know, even in non-COVID times, no one would know for sure. But you'll have the right to ask for it if you've given the 10 business days. I think sometimes when you give them the 10 business days and let them know that they're going to lose the income that they get for your child attending school, sometimes schools are much more amenable to trying something different with you. So good morning, Christina. And but it's really important that you speak up about it.
Hey, thanks for watching Autism Live. To subscribe, click here. And if you'd like to check out some more of our videos, click here.